Dennis Hildeby with another stellar performance as the Maple Leafs inch closer to the top of the Atlantic Division. Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan. And guys, Dennis Hildeby, the story around this team right now, picking up his first career shutout in the National Hockey League after the Maple Leafs 2-0 win over Tampa Bay. We'll start with you, Terry. Joseph Woll looks like he's going to return sooner rather than later, if you believe head coach Craig Berube. But once he does return, how do you think the goaltending situation plays out with the way Hildeby is going right now?
Well, what it does is now you don't have to ride one guy, right? You're not gonna push Joe Wall into the ground here once he comes back because Hildeby is playing well. I mean, you can easily make an argument with Craig Berube, not that he'd have to ride for a living, to go every other game with these guys. Don't worry about playing, one of them on the second night of back-to-back nights. Go every other one. Because there's no reason to park Hill to be on the bench once Woll comes back as good as Woll was before. So it's turning out to be a best case scenario for the Leafs. Like you say, as long as Woll does come back, maybe perhaps for the weekend, I guess we'll find out maybe a bit more Wednesday at practice. Leafs are off today. But yeah, I just think it's the best case scenario is playing out for these guys because you use them both every other night, alternate. What more can you ask for?
I'd agree. I'd say certainly that the plan going into this season was that two goalies were going to fight it out, and if it's effective, who really cares if it's Stolars and Wall or Wall and Hildeby right now. I mean, there's it's very difficult to carry three, but with Stolars being out for long term, it's certainly not a issue going on right now. And now they are getting some good goaltending. That's really And last night was a rare night when the Leafs actually protected their goaltender a little bit more. They made a few errors, and Hildeby's getting very used to cleaning those up. But he's it's funny, you talk to the players, and he's the exact opposite of a guy such as Stolars, who's chatty, and you can hear him all over the ice. Hildeby, you don't hear at all. Of course, we're not right down at ice level, but communication is pretty good. And not only is he 6'7", he plays like it. I mean, some of those stretch saves are pretty good. And lo and behold, you may have two Maple Leaf draft pick goaltenders who are being developed. So maybe the curse of Tuukka Rask is finally being lifted on this team.
Yes, I think that would be nice for a lot of Maple Leafs fans. So, Lance, the Maple Leafs now with 5 wins in their last 7 games. And as I mentioned, getting closer to the top of the Atlantic Division, just 3 points back in Detroit. Now, there's still a lot of teams in front of them. But now that you've seen this division for a while now, at least this season, what do you make of it? And where do the Leafs stand in all of this mess?
Well, as I said in a previous show, you check with the NHL. It's never been this close this late, which is why I think a lot of people thought that it was a bit of a bit early to be writing teams such as the Leafs off. It's it's still a lot of clubs to climb over right now. And Detroit's late win last night, of course, I think puts them back in first. So it's going to be tight. Even the players say it's never been as close as it is right now. The problem is the Leafs dug themselves a bit of a hole, and usually, I'm sure they wish they were in Tampa's position, who got a lot of early wins and have, probably going to be able to weather this 4-game losing streak that they're on. But Toronto's home now. Many players point to that road trip as being a huge turning point for them. It looked like it was going to be disastrous, in terms of playoff spot, and they would come home in too deep of a hole. But really, Buffalo is the only team that seems to be falling out right now. I think the Leafs have certainly done some. They've lost a couple of divisional games. That's a huge one last night to get some points from Tampa Bay, and now maybe with the schedule balancing out, they get a couple of wins against the West, some help on the out of town board, and they can stay in the first place race at least till Christmas.
Well, I think, Rob, what you said right off the top kind of illustrates the whole issue here. Is the Leafs have won 5 of 7, yet they're still not in the playoff spot. So, yeah, it's close, but you're only 2 points up right now on Ottawa and Florida. And like Lance said, Buffalo is, typically, again, out of this. That's one thing we can count on every year. I think is where the Sabres wind up. But I think it's gonna be like this the rest of the way. The thing about the Leafs pulling away or getting into a spot, as much as we can say, well, let's not write them off yet. I wouldn't go so far as to say they can do that yet either, because we just haven't seen it over a 10 or 12 game stretch. I mean, the last few games have been great. They've been doing many better things, but let's see it over a longer term of consistency here, perhaps into Christmas, and then go from there. But again, like overtime points and Tampa, playing Montreal tonight, so there's an opportunity for a 3-point game. Boston's playing St. Louis, so they could move back into first place as well in a different scenario. So, every night the Leafs are off, there's something that could happen to them standings wise. And like I said, I just think you don't really look at many of these teams right now and say, okay, who's going to pull away here, if that's even possible. I don't think anybody will. I think we're going to be like this for a while. And, what it comes down to for a team like the Leafs is you continue to get the goaltending they're getting now. We haven't mentioned Chris Tanev yet, but he seems to be rounding a corner. He's going to have another evaluation on Wednesday, and that could be the green light he needs to get back into the lineup, perhaps later in the week. Haven't been out since November 1st, so even though he wasn't playing well before he got hurt, he will help when he comes back. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But yeah, I just think this is what we're in for the rest of the year. And the prize at the end, we'll see what that is. But, I guess you get to the playoffs and anything can happen. But right now, I wouldn't have a ton of confidence in any of these Atlantic Division teams. Not that, the other divisions in the conference or the Metro is being, anyone's running away there either.
Exactly. But considering where the Leafs were just a couple of weeks ago, it's a stark change where people aren't collaring for the lottery and draft picks anymore. There is actually a little bit of hope here that they can punch a spot into the playoffs, but still a long way to go. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you on the next one.